We demand of our people intellectually in terms of education and personally in terms of service and dedication. We're much like the ministry. We do expect at least you should have a calling.
It was a sunny April in Seattle as officers and delegates prepared for the 57th Annual Convention of the International Chiropractors Association. This year, 2 television crews spent 4 days documenting the convention itself. We observed numerous business sessions and presentations by international leaders of chiropractic. We conducted interviews in depth, and we saw demonstrations of chiropractic technique and of chiropractic support equipment. The following program presents what we saw and heard about the state of the art in chiropractic and the plans and projects of the International Chiropractors Association.
During the evening session of the committee, it was stated that the objective of the committee should be to provide valid, comprehensive, and credible programs that will reflect the principles of ICA.
We have no complete proposal for what we have.
I mean, ask you something. When can we expect that coverage?
Well, that's a good question, as usual.
In a rare, free moment, Dr. Sid Williams, president of ICA, spoke with us about the history of chiropractic and the development of the organization he so proudly heads.
Never happened before until chiropractic was discovered in 1895 that there was a way to increase the human potential by allowing more life to flow uninterrupted through the nervous system. This one point is the staggering difference between all the other therapeutic treatment procedures that are utilized today. As you know, the International Chiropractors Association was founded in 1926 by B.J. Palmer. B.J. Palmer is known and recognized worldwide, and especially in the chiropractic profession, as the primary developer. Many people today would like to relate him with other developers. There are other developers, but this man was the developer. This man organized the International Chiropractors Association, and he was a great person. He was a dedicated...
ICA has come a long way since BJ's day. At this year's convention, 81 delegates represented over 6,100 chiropractors from throughout the United States and Canada, and from 27 foreign countries on all continents of the globe. They discussed and debated a wide variety of programs and policies for service to members and the science of chiropractic. In addition to support of chiropractic research, ICA is expanding its commitment to outreach, public education, progressive legislative action, and the promise of chiropractic in addressing health problems in the developing nations. Last year, for instance, in a meeting in Cancun, Mexico, chiropractors from the Latin American region met to exchange experiences and ideas while assisting one another under the auspices of ICA. A special ICA team has been working with the United Nations and the World Health Organization. In late March, just 1 month before the annual convention in Seattle, ICA conducted a highly successful legislative conference in Washington, D.C. Leading members of the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives joined ICA in calling for inclusion of chiropractic care in health maintenance organizations, and easing the use of veterans' benefits to pay for chiropractic care. ICA members are active as well within the American Public Health Association, moving to place chiropractors on an equal footing with other practitioners within that organization. The response to these new initiatives by ICA has been rewarding. Membership is growing dramatically. Student membership alone climbed 30% in the first 3 months of 1983. With an increased ICA drive for service and excellence under the leadership of Dr. Williams, the association looks forward to continuing successes. There is a winning spirit in ICA, and it showed throughout the convention, during informal encounters, major conference offerings, and delegates meetings such as the one you see here.
Our patients and the fellow chiropractors become like us in ICA. And this policy statement, we can't go forward without a policy statement. And we have to get it down further than the policy statement.
At this time, I'd like to call President Williams to the podium for...
Thank you, Bill. Several months ago, we thought that we needed something new on our lapels and our coats, so we've been about our business designing a new lapel pin, and they came in today. This is going to brighten it up. I'm going to come by and give each one of you a pin. It's going to be 14 karat gold. I'm not going to dwell on that point, so just hang loose right where you are, and I'm going to come by and bring it to you up onto the board and do the job. Robert, I'm going to give you the first one.
This ceremonial presentation by Dr. Williams culminated a busy week of meetings and deliberations. Now the stage was set for the highlight of the convention, the informational and inspirational talks by international leaders of chiropractic and their guests. First, Dr. Clay Thompson, an inventor of chiropractic equipment and a man Dr. Williams has called his mentor.
The chief said to them he'd felt so good ever since I'd been there. Well, of course, that led to others being adjusted. But the clincher is this. 6 months before I adjusted this man, he'd been sent to the hospital in Bogota as a chief, gone through the examination. They said he had cancer of the lower spine and sent him home to die. How about that? Now, chiropractic doesn't cure cancer. Chiropractic doesn't cure anything. But without it, the chief would have died, no doubt in my mind. What happened inside after I made the adjustment is perfectly obvious. Just as much so as when I was dying with diabetes when I was 26 years old, pancreas had quit, 500 blood sugar, only a week to live, when my father talked me into going to an old chiropractor. Now, I resisted it because I'd had the best doctors. When I got off of the train to meet this man, which I hadn't seen for 20-some years, he said, well, Clay, what kind of flowers do you want? And I thought, what a terrible way to talk to a man that's dying. But he didn't seem to be worried about me dying at all. Then he took me to his office, and he took an x-ray of my back, and I said, why are you doing this? Being medically orientated, and I was a druggist at the time. He said, well, you'll see. And I said, there's nothing wrong with my back. And I was even more disillusioned. Then he set me in the chair and he put a little plate in my hand. And he took another plate and run up and down my back, and he had a little black box that he run his finger on after he put a little talcum powder on it. And every once in a while it goes squeak, 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 and he'd put a line on my back. And I said, this has got the voodoos beat. I wasted my time coming over here. Then he put me on the table, and he opened the table up, and he come down on me, and I said, well, at least he's going to put me out of my misery. In 16 days, I went home well. Never had diabetes from that day to this. Obviously, the pancreas was paralyzed due to the subluxation in the spine. A simple, it was years after that before I knew what he did. But when you see life restored in the most impossible cases, and as doctors of chiropractic, many times we solve the most impossible cases, and then we run into something like
Earlier in the convention, Dr. Thompson granted an exclusive interview, a rare opportunity to learn more about the principle of chiropractic and Dr. Thompson's unique contributions to the profession.
Drugs are a crutch, just the same as a crutch you put under your arm. Now, chiropractors, if they know what they're doing, they're not opposed to manipulation. They're not opposed to drugs or both. But that's not chiropractic any more than the surgeon's knife would be. See, that's the point. So many people say, well, he's a mixer. He uses a light, and he uses water, and he uses heat. Well, it isn't a matter that those things are bad. They're probably good for patients. But the true chiropractic picture is that the real chiropractor does not use those things
He
anymore.
does something else that's specific to the
His
purpose that he
job
wants
is to correct the
accomplish.
subluxation with his hands.
Now, what is subluxation?
Subluxation is the vertebra that's moved out of its normal position,
All right.
not luxated or not dislocated, but out of its normal juxtaposition, which causes pinching of the nerves and flowing the energy down from the brain to the body and back. Let's assume that you have a vertebra, a second dorsal, for instance, you're having a lot of heart trouble.
Heart trouble.
Yes. Now the nerves from that definitely affects your heart. All right, I find the position of that vertebra through X-ray and through our other means as to what direction that has gone out of place, causing the pinching of the nerve. So with the table and the proper line of adjustment to set that vertebra back where it belongs so that the nerve is free, then the energy can flow again. So it corrects the cause, which was the subluxation. Now what caused the subluxation? Trauma, drugs, shock. See, those are the things that can cause. For instance, if I come to you and say, your husband's just killed out here in the street, that's a terrible shock. All right, the spine reacts to that. Now you take a drug of some kind, it upsets you, or a poison. Or you just fall down on your head, bing, and out goes that vertebra. Now, many whiplash cases in automobiles, the patient gets into it and he goes to hospital and get x-rays, and he said, well, there's nothing wrong with me. He settles the insurance for almost nothing, but he doesn't know that he's ruptured some of the capsules, ligaments in his neck, and 6 months from now he begins to go gravely ill. So a subluxation can be a long-standing or acute or chronic.
And it doesn't have to be something like a violent twist that makes anything happen to your
it can
spine.
be caused from many things.
Changes in muscle tension, for example, from emotional stress are dramatic.
Oh, I should say so.
You know, muscles move inches under stress, emotional stress.
What led you to developing the table?
Well, you see, in the beginning, the recoil adjustment that was developed at Palmer College by Dr. Palmer years ago, it was a fast recoil, but it was done on an immovable, solid headpiece where the head laid down. And when I went to school and learned the technique that I had to learn, because of my engineering background, which I had, I could conceive that this was mechanically wrong.
Yes.
That to freely move, that something that would move with you. In other words, it's like the prize fighter. The prize fighter never stands like this and pushes up. The prize fighter is in motion when he gives the thrust. And so the headpiece follows through with the adjustment.
Yes.
Not only that, for the adjuster who was very slow on his thrust, it was a tremendous bond to him because now he had something that gave him the speed he didn't have before.
And what you said before about the size makes a really big difference too.
Yes, and so we could say this: the poor chiropractor made a better chiropractor, and the good chiropractor became an expert almost immediately.
And the table equalized size.
That's right.
So that.
And the patient. And the table also weighs each patient according to his own weight, and then adds about 3 pounds to his weight before the adjustment's given.
I guess the word might be reinforcement. So as to not have the impact or the effect of the adjusting thrust, so to speak, negated by the recoil. Is that not correct?
Correct. So there's the principle, it is Newton's first and second law of motion, which states that when two bodies fall through space and there's a sudden concussion, the force of the first goes through the second.
Expanding from basic remedial and preventive care, chiropractic is now evolving a broad-scale concern with wellness. Here's Dr. Williams, president of ICA, to explain.
Now, I don't believe that we as healthcare providers can ignore the environment in which our patients live and breathe every day. I think it's our professional responsibility to use the political power that we have for the best interest of not only ourselves, but of the best interest of the public that we serve. I don't think that we can continue to allow people to breathe air that's a common air. It's in the common domain.